Hello, and thank you for joining me in the class today. Today we're going to be painting hyacinth flowers in acrylic. It's going to be a nice loose flowing style of class, a nice loose flowing painting. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great fun. Paint along, it's really easy. Even if you're just starting out, you're really going to enjoy it. So we'll start off by taking a look at the photo that I found that we're going to use for inspiration, and then we'll take it from there. Alrighty, so I got this guy off Pixabay. It was quite pretty. I quite liked the colors and things with the contrasting the violet versus the pink. So that should be pretty cool. But we're not going to paint this painting exactly like the photograph. We're just going to use it as inspiration. The painting we're painting today is literally, you're going to stand back and paint it at the end of your brush and not using small little brushes. So the canvas that I'm working on is a 12 by 16 inch canvas, which is roughly 400 by 300 millimeters. If you're a patron, you can go and download the reference photo. It's there as a PDF at the moment, and then after the class I'll add the palette and the final painting and all that stuff to the reference PDF as well. The link is at the top of the screen over there, and then obviously as a patron you do get access to all my other classes. There's hundreds of them over there. Alright, so the main thing with painting these flowers is that we need to get just that essence of them, and you'll see, because it's each stem is like a whole lot of different flowers, we need to get those perspectives right. So that's the things that we'll work on, we'll chat about as we go. But for now, let's just get the background going, and then we can take it from there. So let's go over to the palette. I think I'll pop the reference just small down in the corner over there. Like I say, everything is going to be quite loosely based on this image. So we'll put some titanium white down. I am painting an acrylic today, but you're most welcome to work along in oil. Techniques are going to be the same. And then it's quite dark, like a grey with a blue haze to it. I think what's happening is you've maybe got a blue light on that back wall over there. So let's put some Paynes Grey down in this corner here. Paynes Grey is like a blue-black, so he should work great for that. And then obviously for the blue, I'm going to use French Ultramarine. And I see Katie's asking, she's saying she doesn't have French Ultramarine. Can she use just regular ultramarine? Yes, any blue will do. I think if you got a Taylor blue would also work. I don't think the cerulean blue would work well for the flowers. There is another blue that I also sometimes use, which would work nice for that. I just can't think of the name of it now, but that's all right. Yeah, any French ultramarine type color will do the trick. Alright, so let's start off by just trying to get that lighter version over there. So it's definitely got lots of white in him. So we'll put the white down over there. And let's work in just first a little bit of ultramarine. Let's see what it does to the white. Is it a big change, little change? Yeah, I think we can add a bit more in there. Let's maybe add just a little bit of our Paynes Grey as well, just to grey it down. We don't want blue. we want these colors to be reasonably muted. And that's why with the background being muted, we're going to get nice contrast with the brighter flowers in front. So yeah, I think that should do the trick. Maybe I'll mix just a little bit more. We don't want to be running out of paint halfway through. Alright, so the next one, let's mix the darkest one. Then the corners. There's clearly like a spotlight shining on these flowers. So let's start with a Paynes Grey. Let's get some blue into that. So I'll put a fair amount of blue in there. And then we'll put in just a little bit of white. Just a sample. See what it does. You don't want to add some in because you can't take any paint out. So if you add too much in, then you got a problem. If I check that out, yeah, that's got a nice little blue tinge, like a blue-black. It's great. I think that's going to work awesome. All right, I like that. I'm going to mix some more because we do have a reasonably sized canvas. There, a touch of white. So if you do have any questions, just ask away. I'll answer as we go. And then obviously let me know if you're painting with as well. Okay, cool. Now we need an in-between color. So let's take, say, that white that's left there. A fair amount of black, but not as much as previous time. And then obviously some blue to tinge it. And let's see what we get. What you're looking for now is a color sort of in between those two, eh? So clearly it's going to need more black. We want 3 distinct colors. Yeah, I think that's cool. Hopefully we've mixed enough. So just put a little bit more Paynes Grey down there, just for in case we need it. And let's top up the white as well. Awesome. Let's use those guys and let's start popping in the background. Yeah, let's go to there. Okay, so I'm going to just use, any old brush. What have we got here? Let's take this guy over here. He seems to be about a 1.5 inch, maybe even a 2-inch brush, eh? Let's see. Yeah, 1.5 inches. So that is a good 4 centimeter. Just a bristle brush, hardware brush, chip brush, whatever you want to call it. So we do have quite a bit of a large area. Like I said, this is a 12 by 16 inch canvas that we do need to cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dip my brush inside the water and then pick up the paint. So that we're laying down quite a thin layer of paint. If you're painting along in oil, just add enough medium into the paint for it to flow. You don't want yours as thin as that, because we will want to paint directly over it. Alright, so this is all roughly in this area over here. So we'll just scrub that in. So this is now the spotlight is shining on this area over here, making that nice and bright. Let's go to the medium color, the mid-tone. So again, I'm dipping the brush in the water and then picking up the paint. And then we'll pop this all the way around. So we want to get a bit of a shading happening there. And get enough paint on there so that you don't have, you're covering the canvas. You don't have too many streaks and things. If you do, then, well, we'll just give it a second coat. Alright, so I think while we've got this, let's blend these guys into each other to create a bit of a shading. So I'm just using the tips of the brush, just the very tips. If you find one color is disappearing on you, for example, like here, the darker one is overtaking the light one, pick up some of the light one again on your brush. Start from the light and work your way outwards. And that way it will, the amount of paint will balance out the lightness of the other one. So I think I'm going to leave it a little bit stripy. You don't want it too perfect. It gives it nice bit of texture and a bit of character. Hey, hair over there. Let's try and pick them out when I see them. Awesome. Let's go to the dark one. So dip into the water. Let's pick up some of the dark. It seems like we've mixed a nice amount of paint. Some leftovers for in case we need it. Right, let's start in the top corner there. Let's get him in. Some in this top corner here. Let's get him in. And now we can start fading that in. And look there, we've already got that nice little, like a looking in effect. Yeah, that's cool. So here at the bottom we've got, it does go darker and stuff. But we've now got that, you got the table, and then you got the back, which are pretty much the same kind of colors. So I think the easiest way of doing that is let's just take, you can either take a ruler or maybe some masking tape or something like that. And let's just measure a distance up. It's not much. So I'm just going to measure maybe here like that. So I'll just make myself a little mark. There. There. I'll just lay a ruler down there. And I'm going to hold that. And that way I know I can come in here. Right up to this. And I'm going to use the ruler basically as a mask. So this is now where the wall ends. So do just make sure you get right up against there. And make sure all your brush strokes are going in one direction like this. So our wall, we've got the directions going sort of 45-degree-ish. And now you can just take this, flip him, put him on the other side. So now our table, the shadings on there go like this. So I'm going to use round strokes like this. Make sure you come right up against that ruler. If you haven't got a ruler, just use masking tape. Just stick it over the wet paint. And then onto the table, or onto your easel next to it. It goes to there. Get these corners nice and dark. So now there's difference in tonal value, and then obviously also the difference in directions should give us a nice little sharp edge showing us where the wall is. Okay, let's lift up the ruler and see what we've got. See there. So that's nice and easy. So let's just get, there was a little bit of a paint still on the ruler. Carefully get rid of that. Cool, man. Background done. So what I think I'm going to do is, seeing as we're working in acrylics, I'm going to zap it with a hairdryer. That was quick enough. Alrighty, so we're done with these colors now. So I don't want to throw them away. You never know when you need just a little bit. So I'm going to pop them down over there. I never throw paint away until I've finished the painting. Be amazed how often you realize, oh, I need just a speck of that one color. Maybe I missed a spot, or there's a little bit of exposed canvas that you didn't quite cover up, or something like that. And to mix those colors again is not always that easy, eh? You always end up getting close, but never on the dot. Alrighty, so we can clean off that area there. So I'm just taking some, let's maybe go to, let's maybe go to there. I may as well put the reference photo in its place. So I'm just taking some water on a piece of kitchen towel. Just clean this up. Because this is now grey, we don't really want any of this inside our flower colours, especially not the pink one. So we give ourselves all the chance to not let that happen. Alrighty. So with these flowers themselves, you get different types of hyacinth. You get the grape hyacinth, and he looks like that. And they all are violet. We're not going to paint that guy today. We'll be painting just the I don't know what you call it, the standard hyacinth. So they like a whole clump. I don't know what you call it, like a whole clump of little flowers growing out of a stem. And then they've got these beautiful, bright, grass green leaves in between. So we'll do those guys today. So what's really important when painting this is that we get the angles right. Let's maybe go into here. And let's take a look at this area over here. So look at this flower. He's sort of pointing more or less towards us. So you'll find that all these petals on that flower are roughly the same length. But now, as it turns, then you have what's called foreshortening happening on these flowers, or on the petals. So here, this little petal here is pointing towards us. So he appears shorter, and those guys appear the same length, and he appears a little bit longer. And then as he turns even more, look how short this guy is appearing now. So maybe let me demonstrate that. Let's go to here. Let's get my trusty old Play-Doh out. Unfortunately, I don't have actual Hyacinth flowers in the studio today. We don't have any of those in my garden. So I'm just going to take this and we'll just make our own flower. I mean, it works the same with all flowers, so we'll just make a flower shape. So KJ is asking, do you have to keep wetting the paint that you put on the side? The paint that I have on the palette? KJ, yes, if it's going to dry out, I keep misting it with just a little misty water bottle. Let me show you what that looks like. This guy over here, it's just a little standard mist bottle that I got at the dollar store. Fill it up with water, and then I spray it onto the palette. All right, so let's say this is now our flower. Let's see if we can just get something over there to indicate the center, and then let's add just little lines in it to represent our petals. That should do the trick, eh? Let's go in on that. Cool. Okay, so what I want you to do is watch these lines now. He's pointing towards you, so each of them are the same length. I'm going to tilt the flower so he points upwards. So can you see that this guy over here appears to be shortening as he comes towards us? Because you're now gradually looking down the petal as opposed to across the petal. So that's the thing that you got to take care of. So if he's looking up, the ones coming forward generally go shorter. This guy over here appears almost as though he's becoming longer because you're looking more across him. Here, you see you're slightly looking down at him because of that bowed shape of the flower. But as you do this, you're seeing more of the full length of it. So it does appear longer. Ironically, these guys appear the same length because they haven't actually changed angle from you. See that? But if you're looking to the side, so let's do that whole exercise to the side. If you tilt that flower to the side, can you see? The front one becomes shorter, the one at the back becomes longer, and now these guys over here, along that axis that it's rotating on, stay the same length. So you have to take care of that on all these flowers that you're going to paint. So our main mission now is let's sort out some colors. So we've already got some ultramarine down there. The next color I'm going to use, I've got here, is Naphthol Crimson. Any crimson should do the trick. Let's pop some of that down. And let's take our main color in the blue flowers is obviously in our blue, so let's take blue. And let's get just a little bit of crimson in there. And that should now give us the blue and the red, should give us a violet. So maybe a little bit more. So the way I'm checking this color is I'm looking as I mix this. It's making little marks here on the palette as the knife is scraping against it. So if I do that, you end up with a little no man's land over there where you can see. Let's point to something that shows out, stands out. So there you've got the palette, and there you've got paint, and then you've got a little bit of a no man's land there. So I'm looking at that there, and that's telling me what color I actually have. So we'd have to be careful not to make it too pink, because we do have pink flowers on the other side, on the other flowers. Yeah, that there should do the trick. And now to make anything look three-dimensional, you're going to need at least 3 colors. The shadow color, the base color that the object is, like in this case the flowers, the main color of the flower, and then the highlight color. Alright, so for a highlight, I'm going to start adding a little bit of, or for the mid-tone, I'm going to start adding some white into that. So what I'm checking here now is just that we have continuity between there and there, so that those colors follow on each other, and that you've got a good difference, good change in color there. You need a distinct difference between those colors. Yeah, that's cool. And now we need a highlight color, so let's pick up some more white, and maybe just the paint that's left on your knife is often enough. Okay, so these colors are a little bit too purple, so I'm pushing them back with a little bit more blue. So I'm roughly using the reference photo, but I'm not going to slavishly copy it. Yeah, that's fine. I'll leave that one. He's dark. He's good enough. Okay, so can you see you've got real good steps in color, same as what we had with the background. Good steps in color there. So now you know you're going to get nice contrast. And that's your minimum. You can always have more, but you can't have less colors. Right, so while we're at it, yeah, no, that's fine. I think we maybe even just modify those colors as we go to get the next ones. So let me set up the next view here for us. Yeah, let's go to there. Like that. Alright, so obviously we don't know where anything goes yet, so I'm just going to take, that's just like a ½ inch, just a soft bristle brush or a soft hairbrush. You could use a bristle brush, you can use anything really at this point, or a Filbert. anything, doesn't really matter. And let's just do just a little bit of planning, because we've now got flowers there and we've got a little jar. So we need to know where those things go. So I'll just pick up any color, doesn't really matter. So maybe just pick up some of this highlight color here. Let's just give ourselves a rough feel. We want maybe this jar here on a third. So I'll split the canvas into 3. We put the jar somewhere around here. So he's standing on the table there, and this doesn't need to be dark or distinct or anything like that. It could even be a little bit wrong still at this stage. All you're trying to get is just a feel for what's what. Okay, and then from here we're going to have, let's say, one flower coming out there, another one coming out there, and then the other one coming out over there. Something like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And that gives us a nice little bit of white space on that side. Cool. Now that we know what goes where, start with the dark and we work our way forward. So if you're working in oil, you can add some medium into these paints now to get them thinner than your background, because your background is still wet, eh? Alright, so what I'm going to do is, you can see that some of these flowers are still closed and some of them are open. So I'm going to create a variety of just shapes along that rough little line that I've drawn there for myself to represent a stem. And I'm going to use the photo as a bit of a reference. So let's go into there. And let's move that guy up to there. So look here, I'm working with the back of the brush. I'm standing up and I'm just going to add essentially shapes here for myself. This is all quite random. It doesn't even need to look like flowers or anything. Just think of it as a silhouette of what you're going to see in the end of the day. And all this is now in the center. I'm going to pretty much make that reasonably solid in the center, coming down there. And then just some kind of a suggestion of little petals and things coming out the sides. What I'm more concerned about is just its general shape. Do I need to make it bigger? Or am I going a little bit too far and I need to just cut back on the ones that are peeking out a little bit too far? See there, it's just random shapes. And I'm looking for patterns and stuff. If I see any kind of a pattern, like that there was a too much of a straight line, I'm going to break it. If you see you're getting too many little dashes that are all looking the same, or the same angle and the same distance away and that kind of thing, just break that up, squeeze another petal or something in between. Alrighty, so now inside that we're going to create our actual flowers and stuff. So if you wanted to, you could even dry that, that's fine. So I'm going to pick up the dark, or the mid-tone, sorry, And all I've done is just wiped off the excess on my paper towel. So I've just taken the paper towel and just wiped off the excess of that dark. We're working with the same colors, no need to wash the brush. Alright, now we are going to start creating distinct flowers. So I think let me rearrange this one camera and I can get closer in on that for you. Alright, let's go to there. So now you are going to use your photo for a bit of a reference, just to get an idea of where these different flowers are and their angles, their shapes, and are they open or are they closed? For example, here in this top corner, can you see there? There's a guy that's not quite open. So I'm just going to use a little dab, dab, and dab like that. So there you go. There's 3 petals that you've put down. I can see another one out here. Just little dabs. Here in the center, there's a nice distinct little open guy. So I'm going to dab, dab, pick up more paint. So I'm just using little dabs like this to create that shape. Here's maybe a guy out the side that's looking like that. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm making this guy over here look like that. That guy, I'm making him look like that. Now I want to maybe put here one that's looking like that. So what I have to do, if I do that, this guy over here needs to be short and that guy over there needs to be long. So I'm going to go short. These guys on the side can be their normal length and the guy at the bottom need to be longer. So now that flower is looking down and more out to the side. And once you catch that concept of the foreshortening, you can add your own flowers in here without even referencing the photo. Let's add another guy around there somewhere. So can you see how it's starting to fill up there already? So that's pretty cool. So let's take this, just wipe the excess off over there. Alright, before we add the lightest guy, now we need to start adding just a suggestion of some stem in the center. So I'm going to take some Sap Green. I'll just pop him down here on one side. Just like that. That's fine. Now we'll need a darker version of him. So let's maybe go to... Yeah, let's just go to there for a second. And I'm sort of referencing those colors way in over there. So I'll take some green, push him to the side. Oops, yeah, better move the picky out the way, hey? There we go. Alright, so I'm going to just take some green. I'll split that guy up. Let's maybe even just take some, let's take some French ultramarine. Let's darken him up. Let's see if that's getting us dark enough. If it's not, we'll steal a bit of the Paynes Grey. Yeah, that's probably dark enough. And then for a lighter one, let's just take some green. Just a little bit, not too much. Let's get some white into it. Let's see what we get. See if we need to add yellow or not. Yeah, it seems to be nice and bright with this one. If yours isn't bright enough, then just add some cadmium yellow into it. Awesome. I think I'll use a different brush because otherwise you have to wash brushes. So I'll just grab just a soft Filbert. Let's grab this dark green. Remember this, it's in between the stems and stuff. And let's go back to there. And I'm going to add just a odd little suggestion of a stem here and there, in between those flowers that I've painted. Nothing distinct and nothing prominent. It's just got to be there. Just peeping through in between the petals. Okay, so I'm going to just wipe off the excess from that previous violet color of ours. Pick up some of the highlight color. And now we can highlight these guys. So now we have to realize what direction is our light coming from. So in this case, the light seems to be coming from the right to the left. And we can see that because of the highlights on the flowers. Go to there. Can you see these flowers over here on the right hand side are brighter than the guys on the left hand side? So it's coming sort of from the front and then towards the left hand side. So now you have to think, which of these petals that you've painted over there are pointing towards the light? So obviously the guys that are around this vicinity are going to be lighter, and those guys have got to be darker. But now even on individual flowers, your light is going to hit these guys differently. For example, for this guy over here, if you've got a petal like this, and you've got your light coming from here, whatever hits the light most direct on is going to be brighter than something that it's hitting it on side on. Let me try and demonstrate that from the side. If your light comes in like this, and your flower is standing at that, let's say that angle there like that. So can you see here it's hitting it more perpendicular, where here it's hitting it more at a bit of a angle. It's sort of just skimming that petal over there, where here it's hitting it and it's splat. that's where it is. It's not going anywhere else. In other words, this guy over here, where he's hitting it perpendicular or flat on like that, is going to be brighter than this guy here, where the light is just skimming it. And that's how you can make your flowers look round, by using different tonal values on different petals in your flowers. So let's do this guy over here. Those guys even though they're on the technically on the shadow side, they actually the petals that are catching the light. So I'm going to start with them. As I put paint down, I've got lots of this light color on the brush, so the colors are going on light. But as I'm putting them down, they're mixing with these colors there because they're still wet. So now I'm getting a mixing happening on the brush. So that color is now not as light anymore. So as I come around to here, these guys are now darker than those guys. And those guys over there, I just leave them as is. And there you go. You've got yourself a nice round flower. Okay, so let's check this guy. He's a flatter one. There's that petal over there. So he's now looking more down. So now these guys are catching more of the light. Those petals over there. You see, I'm just flicking them in. Like that. He's also pointing down, so the top of him is going to catch sunlight. Yeah, he's pointing that way, and he's probably being cast a shadow on by this guy over here. So maybe just a little bit of sunlight on that guy over there is enough for him. Maybe this guy over here, all these petals are pointing towards the light. So let's make him quite bright. And there's a dude just peeping his head out even further than the rest. And maybe just a little bit of something over there as well. Alrighty, I think I'm going to use one more bright color. I'm just going to pick up some white, work it into that, just to have an extra bright color, just here and there. Just for some extra contrast. Sort of a highlight on the highlights. Yeah, that should do the trick there. Okay, so just wipe off the excess on the brush. Now I'm going to take just a fine liner, or a fine liner should do the trick. Something like this. And I'll grab some of the darkest color, because what happens is these petals come curling in like that. Let's see if I can see it on the photo. Can you see there? It curls in like this, and there in that little center bit it goes darker. But we're now just creating an impression of these flowers. So all you're going to do is just take some of this dark and just tap it down into each of these little centers over here, where you can see them. That's fine. And that just adds that central depth. Don't shade them, don't do anything like that. This is a loose painting. Okay, so what we need now is our next color. So what we're going to do is we just modify these colors that we've got. So let's maybe head over to there. And they're going more green or more pink. So I'm going to take just some of this, pop him down there, get some more red into it. Let's see what happens to it. So I think we'll make this one sort of more purple. I was a little generous with the red in that guy. So now I have to put some blue back. Haha. Okay, so again I'm looking at that no man's land color there. I'm making sure it's purple. Yeah, it's probably still a little bit on the maroon side, but it's okay. I think he'll work. Let's do that. Okay, let's get some red into this. So again, I'm looking for a follow-on color from that. And I'm still looking for him on the purple side, not quite on the maroon side yet. That'll do. Okay, same with the next one. Some more red, get some of this. And there we go, just like that we've mixed 3 new colors. So what you want to do is instantly go and check your colors. Are you happy with them? Do you still have that distinct step contrast between them? Or do you need to adjust? For example, can you see this central color? It's closer to him than him. So that tells me I need to adjust him a little bit. So I'm adding a little bit of white in there. Start just with a bit of white. You can always add more. Okay, and I'm asking myself, is this guy closer to him or him? He's still probably a little bit closer to that. So let's nick in just a little bit more white, and that should do the trick. Okay, there we go. Now we've got 3 more guys to do another flower. Or another, I don't know what you call it, stem of flowers. If you know, let me know. Because there's now multiple flowers on each stem. And I am washing each brush as well, so that we can start fresh. Great. Okay, so this bunch of flowers over here is sort of behind this, so we'll just squeeze him in over there. It's not a significant. It's not a significant. I'm going to just call it, for a matter of brevity, a clump of flowers. Okay, so now again we're going back to just creating some form of a silhouette. So I'm just creating the basic shape. just using dabs and dashes and little sharp edges and so on. That'll represent our petals that are at the back, that are all in shadow. Bring this in here next to this guy, into around there, and that guy's also going to come in front of it, so that should be fine. So now I'm just looking for edges. Do I have nice interesting silhouette? Yeah, I think that should do the trick over there. Cool. Wipe the excess off on your paper towel. Pick up the mid-tone color and now start creating yourself some flowers. So now we can't even see the reference photo, so I'm going to just do my own thing. Let's maybe put a closed guy over there. Maybe another closed guy. Let's see, yeah, what the heck, over there. So I'll just put like one or two little, because I know it consists of multiple petals, so I'll just put one or two little stripes over there, and let's maybe have an open flower, but he's looking up. And then here's another open guy fully over here. Here's a guy overlapping that one. Maybe here's one also slightly overlapping the one on the other side. Maybe there's one that's going down for a change. That one's looking down there, and then maybe here's a flower that's sort of starting to look down. So we need to apply that and a little bit to the right. So you've got to apply that foreshortening to it. Yeah, there we go. That should be fine. Let's see. So again, I'm now just comparing the little the silhouette. Does the silhouette still look interesting? Yeah, I think so. Cool. Let's wipe off the excess. So can you see this one is now going a little bit quicker because we now know what to do. Let's pick up our highlight color. And now keep thinking what the sun is coming from the right to the left. So I'll maybe hit that petal over there, and that one over there, but not that one. It'll hit on the right hand side of that guy. And let's say it hits the right of these guys, but not the left hand one. Here's an open guy, so the light's going to hit those guys, but not really those guys over there. He's in shadow. This guy overlaps that one. Maybe just there and there. Those guys are all in shadow. Maybe he gets just a tiny touch. Okay, so as before, I'm going to take just some white into that highlight color without washing the brush, and that just gives us a final little bit of brightness just to add here and there, just a few little bits of sparkle. So I'm not just highlighting the highlights. Yeah, I think that's enough for that guy. So what's happening, all those different tonal values are creating depth and distance in each flower. That one, I'm not even going to add any stems to it. I'm going to leave it as is. Or maybe add some stems down the bottom here. Awesome. Now what I think we should do is let's squeeze in some of those leaves and stems and stuff. So I've washed the brush. So stick with this brush. But now we're going to go back over to the green. So we'll start with the dark one. And now you need to just remember where this little the jar is. I think we'll just go wide to there for now. And now I need to just put in, say, this guy's stem. His stem goes to maybe over here, like this. Comes out there. And then as he hits the water, he changes direction ever so slightly, because you've got now that the water bends the light. So I'm going to give myself a bit of an angle change there where it hits the water. And that'll give you a bit of a realism look. The more angled this guy comes in and hits the water, the bigger angle you've got to give yourself there. If he comes straight down, you'll tend to come, let's maybe add one over here. He's a bit more straight down. As he comes straight down, he doesn't have as big a an angle change. So we'll bring him down to here, just below the rim. That's where your water level is. So I'm just going to keep him coming straight. Just like that. And let's see, maybe over here we have maybe a leaf coming in between those two. That would look nice. Sharpish point over there. Can you see I'm still all holding the brush here at the back? And then we've got this guy over here. So he's also still needs to come in. Give him an angle change down to there. And then maybe just a shorter little leaf. Just floating around there. Nice. Alrighty, so let's wipe off that excess over there. And let's go over to the mid-tone. Pick that up. Okay, a light is coming from the right to the left. So I'll put this sort of more on the right hand side. And now we need to create the impression that some of these guys in front and some of them are at the back. So I'll start with the back guys. I'll add their little highlight bits in there where I see them. Then I go to the guy that's just in front of him and I put him down. So that if he overlaps that guy, it's not a problem. You can just paint straight over him. Let's get this guy. And then eventually you get to the guys that are here in front. There, like so. Clean off the brush. Go to the highlight color. So for the highlight color, you don't necessarily want sun everywhere. So just think which guys are peeping their head out. For example, this guy over here. he's peeping his head out. So we're going to add a bit of a highlight onto him. Just in that area over there, and we just flick it out. This guy over here, maybe he's only getting a bit of a highlight over there, and then he's getting a bit of a highlight over there. This guy over here, he's getting a highlight all the way down, because he's in front. He's also pointing towards the light, so he's going to have a highlight over there. And then this guy over here, maybe his highlight continues down over there again. Just like that. And here, maybe this guy gets a highlight just around over there. In other words, nothing too solid. Now what I'm going to do is just there where the highlight and the midtone meet in that little center bit, just gently go over them, just to break that line where they meet. In other words, here's a little bit of a shading happening. Nothing too dramatic, just like that, that's fine. And then if your final highlight has really disappeared, you can also just re-establish him again. So let's lighten that guy up, and let's lighten that guy up. Let's have a closer look. Can you see that? So you've got basically a shading happening, but then I've just brought in that little highlight back again. Let me do it over here. So you've shaded that over there, like that. And then you just brought the little highlight itself back, just on that edge over there. And that just lightens that up. Cool, let's do our last one. So what we want to do there is we need now a new color for that new flower. So it's back to the palette. And again, we should be able to just modify these colors. So I'm going to take some more red. So this is more of a pinky flower. So let's get some more red over there. And I'm going to take more red, just shove it in here. So now what's happened is by using the previous color and modifying it, because it's the same type of flower, so they sort of family of each other, so the colors do tend to follow or be harmonious with each other. So by doing the same thing, by just modifying your existing colors, you guarantee that you got that harmony between the colors, even though they appear different on the canvas. You know that you've got that automatic harmony. Okay, next one, let's get this guy. So look at how maroon that color is there now already. And let's get this guy. So here's now just a warning. As you go along and you're now mixing new colors from the previous ones, you may find that you've been mixing too much paint, that you end up getting gradually a bigger and bigger and bigger pile of paint. So if that's the case, then just scoop some out to the one side and then mix your new color out of this little leftover pile over there. And that way you're not going to get this humongous big pile of paint that you can do absolutely nothing with, that you're not going to use. Alright, so I'm adjusting my tonal values. The minute you add new colors to stuff, your tonal value is going to change because you've added darker red into the lighter color. So he's automatically going to go darker. So I have to bring him back again. And that's what I'm doing here now. So get a nice... The dark one usually stays fine. Usually. Let's get that, and we leave ourselves just enough space there for a final almost white highlight. Now I'm checking this guy, make sure he's like that middle kind of color in between that guy and that guy. His tonal value seems to be roughly in the center, right? Awesome. Now you need to tell me how to paint the last one, because you know how. So what's first? We start with the dark. Yep. And then we build the silhouette, eh? Okay, so let's bring this guy reasonably far out, over there like that. So he's going to come out somewhere in this vicinity around here like this. Overlap all that over there, and he'll end around there. So he'll be a nice big one. Hope the jar doesn't tip over. So I'll often leave just here and there a few little dabs or blobs where the background is shining through. Yeah, that should be fine. So the biggest mistake the guys make here at the end is to suddenly start rushing it, because you now feel you know what you want, you know how to do it, and you forget to check for stuff like that that's too smooth or too perfect or too whatever. So add yourself a little, make sure it looks irregular and random. Okay, next step, going lighter for the mid-tone and building our flowers. Let's maybe start this top one off with one looking that way, maybe one looking this way, and then maybe one of those little ones that aren't quite open over here, so that you're not building maybe another one that's also just half open over there, so that you're not doing exactly the same routine as your previous flowers. Longer guys at the back, shorter in front. Let's make a nice open one over here. Nice and big, eh? And maybe that guy's not quite open there. A foreshortening on that front one over there again. And there's a guy that's not open yet. And there's a guy that's just looking out to the side. Let's get this guy. Out there. And let's maybe have something overlapping him. Here's a flower looking down. And maybe just a dude like that. And if you have little spots in between, you can just add a few little random petals. Okay, so before we go to the highlight color, let's do some stem inside there. Now we know where it goes. I don't add it before, because that way you're not picking up any of this green paint by accident. That's why I don't add it before. Yeah, there like that. Alright, now I've used green, so I have to wash the brush. I don't want any green on our nice highlight petal color. So let's get our highlight color. And I have to remember where the sun comes from again. So all on the right hand side. So this guy's at the top. He's definitely catching a nice amount of sunlight over there. And him as well. That guy, I think, let's leave him in shadow. Yeah, those petals over there catching some sunlight. This whole flower is pointing towards the light. So let's give him a good old highlight. Maybe the bottom of that guy is catching some light. Top of these guys. That. There on that one, maybe just a speck here and there on those far little petals are catching a little bit of light, not much. And same with that one, these bottom petals are catching a bit of light. The sun is just glinting in and just catching them over there, but nothing on the top petals. Maybe that guy just gets a little bit of light that's peeping through. Okay, so as before, let's get our white. Work it in here just on the one side, so it's just an off-white, nice bright little highlight there. He's not going light enough, so I'm just pushing all the paint to one side. I'm even washing the brush. So just that little bit of paint that's left on the palette can discolor this. Cool, let's highlight our highlights. Some over there. We said this guy was getting a nice amount of light, so let's give him a good highlight, say over there. And these guys over here as well. Alrighty, cool bananas. Hey, guess what? We're in the home stretch now. Let's stand back and see where we're at. So there's our flowers. What I think we should do, well, we've got this paint on our brush. Let's maybe take, let's take some of this. Maybe this guy over here. Let's maybe add just one of those petals have fallen off. He's died and he's fallen off. And you see, now this is why you keep your paint. You don't chuck it away because we haven't done any shadows yet. So we do need some of these darker colors. So I'm going to take just some of this dark from the background. This dark little corner, this corner color that we used over there and so on. Let's go into over there. And our light is coming from the right to the left. So let's shadow this guy, and let's maybe even use a smaller brush. Just a little bit underneath there. And then we drag him out. So it's just casting a little bit of a shadow over there. Just like so. And the same thing is going to happen with our little jar. So I'm going to make the jar a little bit bigger than what I had. So you maybe have a bit of a shadow down there. And then here at the bottom where it meets the table. So now I need to really explain something to you that's super important. As far as the perspective on jars and stuff is concerned. Because so many people get this wrong, it's crazy. And it's such a natural mistake to make. When you're looking at that jar, in this case, we're looking sort of slightly down at it. So what happens is, maybe I can do it like, that. So you're now looking down at the jar. So let's use this roll of masking tape as the roundness of the jar, sort of a cross section of the jar. So here at the top, you're looking more across it. So can you see, look at the oval formed by this top layer over there. It's quite flat, hey, because you're looking down at it, or looking sort of across it. But now as you start moving down, you're looking more down at this jar. So look what happens to that oval as you look more down at it. It becomes rounder. Until you're looking at it directly from the top, then you're seeing a perfect circle. So here at the bottom, we've got a roundness that looks like that. At the top, we've got a roundness that looks like that. So eventually when you're looking straight across it, it's a straight line. So, and that's what the mistake the guys make. They make this round and that flat, because it's flat on the table and then it's a round jar. And it's got to be the opposite way around. It's really important that you remember that. So it's flat at the top and round at the bottom. Wherever you're looking most down at is the roundest. All right, cool. I think, let me just adjust this camera ever so slightly. Yeah, let's go back to that. There you go. Now we've got something similar to what we like that. Cool. So I'm sticking with this shadow color. So I'm adding that little bottom roundness in over there. Like that. And I do start it sort of in between. And that's usually the angle that I want. Not too round or not too flat. Okay, and now from here, this jar is going to cast a shadow. So we'll just drag it out. So a shadow is always darkest against the object. Like that. And then it fades outwards. So I'll just drag him out there like that. Cool, let's continue. So we're going up over here. This is the side of that jar over there. Like that. And then we've got this guy which is flatter than the bottom one. Something like that. There, that's good enough. Alright, so now I'm going to wash the brush. Now we're going over to white. Because what happens with a glass jar is it reflects the color of the light. So we'll have to find just a little place here on the palette where we can use neat white. Let's maybe take that, put that over there. Let's just clean this little, just a little patch there for ourselves. If you have another palette or a nice little spot on your palette, then you're good to go. I'll just give that guy there a quick little wash and a dry. That should be good enough. And I'm even going to put, I'm not going to even nick some of that. I'm going to put some neat white down there. So obviously if you've got a colored light, and then yeah, by all means use a different color. But for today I'm just going to use neat white. It's going to stand out nicely. Alright, now what I do is I look on the jar and I see roughly where am I seeing reflections. So I am seeing some reflections here on these little, that rounding at the top over there. I'm seeing some here on this edge over here. I'm seeing quite a few in that corner over there. So I'm just popping them in. Very loose. I'm seeing some around this vicinity over there. And then there's quite a prominent guy running down over here. So I'm going to put him down and then just go over him a few times. So there's more like a streak or a smear than a solid mark. I can see there's some of over the back of this jar over there as well. And then there's also just one or two little marks and reflections happening running across it like this as well. Like that. Let's get a smaller brush. And then just pop in a little bit on the corner, on the you know, just to show that little back edge over there like that. That should do the trick. And then always make sure you've got some reflections that are running over some of these prominent guys over here. You know, some of the objects that are inside the jar. Because that's what makes it look like reflections and not part of whatever's inside the jar. Let's maybe lighten up some of this, seeing as we've got a nice soft brush in hand here now. And maybe a little bit of a brighter line running down this edge over here, just in a place, not everywhere. Yeah, that should be off. That should be fine. And I'm just going to re-establish this little bit of a shadow underneath there. We don't want to lose that little cast shadow over there. Alright, now I'm going to just take a little bit of a highlight color from the flower, just highlight this petal there as well, so it is not plain. So remember, you need 3 colors for 3D, so there's your 3D effect on him. Yeah, let's go to there. into there. There's our straight on view of it. Yeah, we'll call it a day on that. I'm quite happy with that. Nice easy little process, eh? Not difficult at all. But look at the nice effect that you get. It looks like something that you've just quickly shoved a few flowers in the jar, put it on the table. Oh, that looks pretty. I'll quickly paint that. And that's what we've done today. And there's obviously nothing stopping you from actually doing that. Go and pop a few flowers in a jar and paint it like that. Nice loose strokes. Holding the brush way at the back here. Just dab, dab, dab. As long as you adhere to those basics of the three colors for 3D and your perspective with the flowers and the petals and the foreshortening, and you'll be all good to go. So I hope you enjoyed today's class. I'll see you next time. So guys, thank you for joining me in the class today. If you did enjoy today's class, go and take a look at the website. The link is there on the screen. And it's also in the description. There you can follow hundreds more classes of mine like this. There's pencil drawing, there's acrylic, there's oil, there's watercolor, pastel, there's pen and ink. You name it, there's hundreds of classes there for you. For the price of a cup of coffee a month. Then obviously your support over there helps me to continue giving the classes over here for those guys that maybe can't afford it. So just before we go, next week there isn't a live class. I have something on, so unfortunately we'll move that pencil drawing class of a cute little bunny. I'm quite looking forward to that one. It was a request, so we'll move that on for the following week. And if you've still got any questions, fire away. I'll answer them as best I can. Did you enjoy today's lesson? And if you did, and you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. And if you click the notification bell, then obviously I can remind you when I go live again. Yeah, guys, honestly, it's $5 a month. You get access to hundreds of classes. It's super cheap. You don't get cheaper than that. You can't even buy a tube of paint. But all your support put together allows me to continue doing this. So much appreciated. You're welcome, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed the class. Yeah, it's a nice little painting. I'll definitely pop him up on the wall somewhere. Oh, well done, Kat, for keeping up. And how did it go laying it over the background? Because obviously your background was now still wet, seeing as you were working in oils. How did that work for you? You're welcome, Padmini. Thank you for the virtual bouquet. Yeah, so I've with my surfboards, I've bought 3 more surfboards, which I'm now going to paint. So my daughter was suggesting that when I paint them, I should stream it on Twitch, not as class, as just, as a hangout. What do you guys think of that idea? That's fine, Kat. If it did get a little bit messy, as long as you've stuck to your fat over lean rule like you say, you should be good. Just by gradually getting more and more medium into your paint as you go lighter. So if it did get slightly messy, then what I suggest you do is leave it now and then let it dry, and then you can come back in and just do touch-ups. Keep your paint. Do you know how to store your paint, your oil paints, so that they don't dry out on you? What you do is, just in case you don't, you can either close it with tin foil or aluminium foil or cling wrap, and then you chuck it in your fridge or your freezer and it can stay there for weeks. You take it out and leave it for 5 or 10 minutes, open it up again, and you're good to go. No problem whatsoever. I've left paint in the fridge like that for months. The wife wasn't too happy, but I had a painting that I couldn't work on at this stage. The paint was still fine. What I also do, let me show you another little trick while I'm thinking of it. I think I have shown it before at some point. You get these little holders that for baby formula. So what you do is you now take your paint, you put it in there with your oil paint, and then you fill this thing up with water, and then you screw them on, and then it seals. So now because it's filled up with water above the paint, your paint can't dry out because the air can't get to it. So doing that, you can keep your paint like that you've mixed for years, and you're ready to use it. Just throw it off, give it a bunch of minutes for the water that's on there to dry. You're good to go. You're welcome. Bill, did you paint with? I know you were asking before the class with the yellow. So did you paint with eventually or not? Every day after the live class, I head out into town. There's a guy with a coffee cart that makes the best coffees, and I can smell his coffee aroma already. I'm like a zombie heading off to him after every live class. And then obviously don't forget to throw out new ideas for classes. I know Chris has given quite a few nice classes, so I will gradually work on getting them out. Chris, if you're watching. That's fine, Bill. That's all good. Good luck. Good luck with your guy. Right, guys, I think let's call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time or on the website. Take care.